Brilliance Audio presents Occidental Mythology, The Masks of God, Volume 3, by Joseph Campbell, edited by David Cudler, performed by Arthur Morey. The geographical divide between the Oriental and Occidental ranges of myth and ritual is the tableland of Iran. Eastward are the two spiritual provinces of India and the Far East, westward, Europe and the Levant. Throughout the Orient, the idea prevails that the ultimate ground of being transcends thought, imagining, and definition. It cannot be qualified. Hence, to argue that God, man, or nature is good, just, merciful, or benign is to fall short of the question. One could as appropriately, or inappropriately, have argued evil, unjust, merciless, or malignant. All such anthropomorphic predications screen or mask the actual enigma, which is absolutely beyond rational consideration. And yet, according to this view, precisely that enigma is the ultimate ground of being of each and every one of us, and of all things. The supreme aim of Oriental mythology, consequently, is not to establish as substantial any of its divinities or associated rites, but to render by means of these an experience that goes beyond, of identity with that being of beings, which is both immanent and transcendent, yet neither is nor is not. Prayers, chants, images, temples, gods, sages, definitions, and cosmologies are but ferries to a shore of experience beyond the categories of thought, to be abandoned on arrival. For as the Indian Kena Upanishad states, to know is not to know is to know. And the Chinese Tao Te Ching, those who know are still. Thou art that, declares the Vedic sage, and the Japanese, it is your true self. O thou, states a basic Buddhist text, who art gone, who art gone, who art gone to the yonder shore, who at the yonder shore hast disembarked, enlightenment, hail. In the western ranges of mythological thought and imagery, on the other hand, whether in Europe or in the Levant, the ground of being is normally personified as a creator, of whom man is the creature, and the two are not the same. So that here the function of myth and ritual cannot be to catalyze an experience of ineffable identity. Man alone, turned inward, according to this view, can experience only his own creaturely soul, which may or may not be properly related to its creator. The high function of Occidental myth and ritual, consequently, is to establish a means of relationship of God to man and man to God. Such means are furnished, furthermore, by institutions, the rules of which cannot be learned through any scrutiny of nature, whether inward or without. Supernaturally revealed, these have come from God himself, as the myth of each institution tells, and they are administered by his clergy in the spirit of the myth. However, certain exclusively Occidental complications result from the fact that, where two such contradictory final terms as God and man stand against each other, the individual cannot attach his allegiance wholly to both. On the one hand, as in the book of Job, he may renounce his human judgment in the face of what he takes to be the majesty of God. Behold, I am of small account, what shall I answer thee? Or, on the other hand, as in the manner of the Greeks, he may stand by his human values and judge, according to these, the character of his gods. The first type of piety we term religious, and recognize in all traditions of the Levant: Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The other we term in the broadest sense humanistic, and recognize in the native mythologies of Europe, the Greek, Roman, Celtic, and Germanic. By and large, the recent history of Occidental mythology can be described in terms of a grandiose interplay of these two contrary pieties, specifically a violent tidal seesaw of exchanges, east to west to east to west, and west to east again, commencing with the first serious Persian attempt against Greece in 490 BC. Alexander's conquest of the Levant turned the Levantine tide and was followed by the victories of Rome. However, even in the earliest Roman period, a countercurrent of Levantine mythologies flowing west had begun to make itself felt.